Polar bear facts. An in-depth exploration. Polar bears, Ursus maritimus, are fascinating creatures and one of the most iconic species of the Arctic region. As the largest land carnivores on Earth, they are perfectly adapted to their harsh and cold environment. These majestic animals are not only a symbol of the Arctic, but also a key species in the ecosystem, with their presence indicating the health of the habitat. This comprehensive exploration will cover various aspects of polar bears, including their biology, behavior, habitat, diet, conservation status, and the challenges they face. 1. Biology and physical characteristics. Polar bears are easily recognizable by their white fur, which provides camouflage against the ice and snow. However, their fur is not actually white. Each hair is a hollow tube that reflects light, giving the appearance of whiteness. Underneath this fur, polar bears have black skin, which helps to absorb heat from the sun, aiding in warmth retention. Their thick layer of blubber, which can measure up to 11 centimeters, 4.3 inches, also provides insulation against the freezing temperatures. Male polar bears are significantly larger than females, typically weighing between 350 to 700 kilograms, 770 to 1,540 pounds, while females usually weigh around 150 to 250 kilograms, 330 to 550 pounds. Adult males can reach lengths of 2.4 to 3 meters, 7.9 to 9.8 feet, with females being slightly smaller. This sexual dimorphism is common among large carnivores, where the males are larger to compete for mates and territory. 2. Habitat and distribution. Polar bears are native to the Arctic Circle, encompassing the Arctic Ocean, its surrounding seas, and surrounding land. Their range includes 5 main polar bear populations in different regions: the United States, Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Norway. The largest population is found in Canada, which is home to approximately 60% of the world's polar bears. Polar bears are highly adapted to life in an icy habitat, relying on sea ice as a platform for hunting seals, their primary prey. They are considered marine mammals because of their dependency on the sea ice for survival. The ice serves as a crucial platform for them to rest, breed, and hunt seals, which make up most of their diet. 3. Diet and hunting behavior. Polar bears are hypercarnivorous, meaning that more than 70% of their diet consists of meat, specifically seals. They primarily hunt 2 species of seals: ringed seals Pussa hispida and bearded seals Erignothus. These seals are rich in fat, which is crucial for the bears to maintain their energy levels and body heat in the Arctic's frigid conditions. The hunting strategy of polar bears is known as still hunting. The bear will wait by a seal's breathing hole in the ice, and then catch the seal as it comes up for air. This method requires patience, as the bear might wait for hours or even days for a seal to appear. In addition to hunting seals, polar bears are opportunistic feeders and will scavenge on carcasses of whales or walruses, catch fish, or eat vegetation when other food sources are scarce. 4. Reproduction and life cycle. Polar bears have a low reproductive rate, which makes them vulnerable to population decline. Females typically reach sexual maturity at the age of 4 to 5 years, while males mature slightly later. Mating usually occurs in the spring, April to May, but the fertilized egg remains dormant, a process known as delayed implantation, until the female enters her den in the fall. Pregnant females will build dens in the snow or on land, where they give birth between November and January. Litters usually consist of 1 to 2 cubs, although triplets are rare. The cubs are born blind and weigh less than a kilogram, about 1.5 pounds. They are completely dependent on their mother's milk, which is rich in fat and helps them grow rapidly. The cubs emerge from the den with their mother around March or April, when they are strong enough to travel. The mother will care for her cubs for about 2.5 years, teaching them survival skills such as hunting and swimming. 5. Adaptations for survival. Polar bears have evolved several remarkable adaptations that enable them to survive in the extreme Arctic environment. Some of these adaptations include insulation. Their thick layer of blubber and dense fur provide excellent insulation against the cold. The blubber also serves as an energy reserve during times when food is scarce. Paws and claws. Polar bears have large, powerful paws that help them walk on thin ice and swim efficiently. Their paws can measure up to 30 centimeters, 12 inches across, distributing their weight more evenly to prevent them from breaking through the ice. The claws are sharp and curved, ideal for gripping ice and catching prey. Swimming ability. Polar bears are strong swimmers, capable of covering long distances, sometimes over 100 kilometers, 62 miles, in search of food. Their front paws propel them through the water, while their back legs steer. Keen sense of smell. A polar bear's sense of smell is extremely well developed, allowing it to detect seals nearly 1.6 kilometers, 1 mile away, and under several feet of compacted snow. 6. Conservation status and threats. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, classifies polar bears as vulnerable due to declining sea ice levels caused by climate change. The primary threats to polar bears are climate change. The loss of sea ice due to global warming is the most significant threat to polar bears. As the ice melts earlier in the spring and forms later in the fall, polar bears have less time to hunt seals, leading to malnutrition and lower reproduction rates. In some regions, polar bears are forced to travel greater distances to find food, which increases energy expenditure and reduces survival rates, particularly for cubs. Pollution. Polar bears are exposed to various pollutants, including heavy metals and persistent organic pollutants (POPs), which accumulate in their bodies through the food chain. These toxins can affect their immune and reproductive systems, further impacting their population. Human-wildlife conflict. As polar bears spend more time on land due to shrinking sea ice, they come into closer contact with human settlements, leading to increased human-polar bear conflicts. This can result in polar bears being shot in defense of life and property. Hunting. While polar bear hunting is regulated in many areas, it still poses a threat to some populations, particularly in areas where quotas are not strictly enforced. Indigenous communities in the Arctic traditionally hunt polar bears for their meat and fur, but conservation efforts aim to balance cultural practices with sustainability. 7. Conservation efforts. Efforts to conserve polar bears involve multiple strategies aimed at mitigating the effects of climate change and protecting their habitat. Some of these measures include international agreements. The 1973 Agreement on the Conservation of Polar Bears, signed by 5 Arctic nations: Canada, Denmark, Norway, the United States, and Russia, aims to protect polar bear populations and their habitats. Protected areas. Establishing marine protected areas in the Arctic can help safeguard key habitats for polar bears, such as important denning and hunting grounds. Climate change mitigation. Addressing climate change through policies that reduce greenhouse gas emissions is crucial for the long-term survival of polar bears. Efforts to reduce carbon footprints and promote renewable energy sources contribute to slowing the rate of Arctic ice loss. Research and monitoring. Ongoing research on polar bear populations helps scientists understand the impact of environmental changes on the species and informs management strategies. Tracking polar bear movements using satellite collars and monitoring their health are part of these efforts. 8. Cultural significance and symbolism. Polar bears hold cultural significance for many indigenous peoples of the Arctic, such as the Inuit. In these communities, polar bears are regarded with respect and are often seen as a symbol of strength and endurance. Traditional stories and legends frequently depict polar bears as powerful, intelligent animals. The use of polar bear pelts and other parts is embedded in the cultural practices of indigenous groups, who use them for clothing, tools, and ceremonies. 9. Polar bears in popular culture. The polar bear's iconic status extends beyond the Arctic, appearing frequently in popular culture. They are often depicted as the face of climate change awareness campaigns, symbolizing the impact of global warming. Organizations like the World Wildlife Fund (WWF) have used the polar bear as a mascot for conservation efforts, drawing public attention to the need for protecting Arctic species and habitats. 10. Future outlook. The future of polar bears largely depends on the trajectory of climate change. If global warming continues at its current pace, scientists predict that polar bear populations will decline significantly by the end of the century due to loss of sea ice. However, there is hope that with concerted global efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and protect polar bear habitats, it may be possible to stabilize their populations. Conclusion. polar bears are more than just a symbol of the Arctic. They are a crucial component of the ecosystem and an indicator of environmental health. Their survival is inextricably linked to the fate of the Arctic ice, which is threatened by climate change. While polar bears face numerous challenges, ongoing conservation efforts offer a chance to preserve these majestic animals for future generations. By addressing climate change, reducing pollution, and managing human polar bear conflicts, we can help ensure that polar bears continue to thrive in their natural habitat.